I must have got a bit of a stick or something. I didn't think I was anywhere near the bush when I was transporting, but I must have been. And that's happened. Sorry, Henry. G'day everyone and welcome back to Brook Farm. So today is it's a Monday for me, probably a Wednesday for you guys when this video is uploaded, but yeah, so I'm the only one on the farm this week. Mum and Dad are going on holidays and Henry's also off this week. He's showing his parents around the southwest of Western Australia. So yeah, that should be good for all of them. And myself, on the jobs for me this week is to finish the Flexion. I got roughly about 600 hectares to do in the wheat, and that's finished. And then it's over to Hatton's block here to do the canola. Now I thought this morning, Monday morning, I'd come and just do a bit of a drive around, see what the canola was looking like, and then I'll go through some of the barley as well and have a look at what that's all looking like, make sure nothing's there that shouldn't be. But I thought I'd show you what we're sort of dealing with down here. As you can see as I'm walking out, we've got a nice beautiful evenness of yellow, and then you get these patches like where I am here. If the GoPro picks it up, there's a bare spot over there. So I mean, I say bare, there's canola there. You can clearly see there's canola here. It's just that the canola just didn't germinate. So wherever you see sections like this, it's our hard clay soil types that just when you seed it, they're just dry and cloddy, and yeah, obviously it just takes a lot of rain that to germinate this. So obviously we've got flowering canola, and then we've got 4-leaf, 6-leaf sort of canola. I'm sure if I look hard enough I'll see some cotyledons coming through. Not ideal, but that's what happens. Now you also probably see there's a bit of ryegrass around the place. So again, not ideal, the amount of ryegrass that's out here. But when we went to do our grass selective spray, it was a bit hard. We had to get going, we had to get across it, and we hadn't really had the rain to germinate the grass. So it made it for a hard timing to get done. And yeah, that's why there's grass coming through now where there isn't canola to compete with. So all this small stuff, you're going to get grasses. So one thing I've got on my headers, I've got seed terminators, and yeah, basically for things like this, when you come and harvest this, you harvest all the ryegrass seeds, and then they just go through the seed terminators. I'll go into the seed terminators when we pull out the headers and I'll show you all them, but it's a handy mechanical tool to combat weeds, so you're not always having to get out and go spraying. We have seen a good what's the word I'm looking for? It's been we've seen a good effect on ryegrass and weeds, summer weeds going down from having terminators. I think I've had them now for, I want to say 5 or 6 years. So anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna have a look to make sure there's no bugs out here, and then keep on driving around and find my dogs. They're all running around here somewhere. When you hate to be the mouse that's just chilling in your living room down there, and you got these two digging down and they're breathing into your hole. So there's 2 things that are happening today as well. One, the last of my Flexion is getting delivered. So that's, I think, 108 tonne. It fills up both tanks. So that'll finish off this and have some excess. And yeah, another reason I wanted to come down was just to see what sort of stage everything was at. If I do continue on with my 65 litres a hectare out here, and looking at it, got to drive around it. This is our biggest paddock, I mean the 730 hectare paddock, but I'm still going to go the 65 litres. It's all looking quite nice, and yeah, there's only occasional bare spots on the hard soils. And the other thing, I'm waiting for the AgriFac mechanic to come out, and I changed the alternator back to the old alternator because the alternator wasn't the issue. It's that the plug I took off is a plug that they put on because when the AgriFac starts up every time in the morning, I'll have to show you, you start it up and it revs up for about 5 seconds and then revs down, and it does that to jump start the big alternator on the bottom for the 48 volt system, and obviously it excites the small alternator for your 24 volt system. So that plug there just stops the I'm pretty sure it just stops the alternator from waking up, for, you know, it delays it. So yeah, for whatever reason, that's what the issue is. So obviously the batteries were still charging. I've seen a few comments on that. Yeah, I just didn't explain it. So yeah, the AgriFac mechanic is coming out because when I was putting it back on the old alternator, I had a look at the fan blade, and the fan blade has got some cracks in it. It kind of sounds, you know, these last couple of weeks that I'm you know, not doing a very good job at selling AgriFacs. Not that that's my job, but they are a very good boom spray, and we've thoroughly enjoyed having it. So don't get me wrong, good boom spray, but yeah, the fan blade, I'll have to show you. It's got 11 blades, 9 of them have got cracks between, you know, 1 inch and 2 inches long. So I'm not operating that at all until we change that blade over, because obviously we run the risk of the blades breaking and straight into a radiator, which is going to be a very, very costly procedure. So that's why I'm going for my my morning drive. Canola is still looking good. There's you guys won't be able to see it on the camera, but over in the center of the paddock where there's some quite hard soil, we're down to, well, obviously it's growing, but you know, you can't really see it from here. And that was the other thing I forgot to mention. We got 23.5 mils of rain from that rain that came through last week. So it was absolutely awesome. I didn't get as much of the Flexion done as I'd liked, but yeah, I was just happy that we got the rain and I got what Flexion I got out. So yeah, that's why I was taking off the alternator, because it was too wet to get on the paddock. Just wanted to leave the paddock to dry out for, you know, over the weekend. So now I can get back on it. Out in the barley now. This is the first paddock that Henry sprayed with Flexion. Thought I'd come and have a look at it, just see if we did any bleaching or anything like that. And to be honest, it all looks pretty good. Yeah, there's not too much changing colour on the flag or anything like that. And you can see how quick it goes. So it's been about 2 weeks. Yeah, pretty much exactly 2 weeks to the day that Henry started Flexion. And back then we were sort of like this plant here. So this is flag leaf emerging. Hang on, I'll get my hand up there. So flag leaf emerging, and then there's a head in there. And we were also at a stage called awn peep, so you can see the awns up the top there. Again, I'll get my hand up there. So you got the little awns coming out. And now we are, head is out, and let's see if it'll pick it up on the GoPro. All these little white things, that's flowering. So we don't want any cold nights at the moment, because all this barley, this early barley that's coming out is all flowering, and I don't know if that's going to pick it up. So yeah, when you get a frost, when it's like this, that's when you lose seeds. And yeah, if you have hay fever, all the pollen, perfect. Yeah, it's all looking pretty good. Don't know if it'll pick it up. You can see there's low spots, there's high spots. So this is what we're doing with, this is, you know, the whole year. But all in all, the paddock is looking, you know, fantastic. It's looking really good. So yeah, anyway, I shall continue on my drive. Right, we've got the AgriFac all fixed and ready to roll. This is the fan blade. Ignore the broken bit that just came off when we were trying to get it off. That wasn't actually going to break when driving. But if it shows up on the camera, so we got crack there, there and there. There's a crack there, crack there. There's a tiny little crack there. One there, one there, a couple there, a couple big ones just there. Same again. This one was probably the worrying one that was probably going to break on us if I was to keep operating. That's a huge crack. And then yeah, we're back to this one. Not ideal at all, but you do have to remember this machine is at 2,500 hours or just over. So it's it's done a few hours, and this is one of the first Condor Endurance 2s or whatever they're called. So this is James Bond. This is 007 serial number. So yeah, the Agrifac were stumped by the fact that it was so cracked, and well, that it was cracked at all. Yeah, anyway, we've changed it. I've got, now I can't remember what that hub is called that goes on there, but I've got that. That's still good, but because when you buy the unit, you can't just buy a fan blade by itself, you got to buy the unit together. So that'll just go in our parts, because we've got a new one on there at the moment. And I also replaced the alternator belt, well, the whole fan belt assembly, because we've got if you can see that, we've got a hole in there, and that is caused, there's a little rock in there. Right, time to jump in and go and actually do some flex sand now. We're out here in the wheat, spraying away, just continuing on at our 65 litres a hectare, and the wheat's looking very nice out here. After that 23.5 mils of rain, it has just perked everything right back up. And actually today it's quite warm. It's 28 degrees at the moment, and tomorrow's 26, so everything's just going to be thumping along and trying to grow. Now the only issue I have had out here is the John Deere screen. Sometimes when you're going to paddocks, it doesn't remember its coverage. You've got to get in and out. But if you have a look up here, I'm coming to the end of my run and there's no damn coverage. I'm having to do it manually, which isn't too bad because I turn off right when I go over where the seeder was. That is my my width of the boom. So that's all right, but it gets a bit annoying when I'm going to go down along the creek there. But yeah, this screen, the John Deere screen, sometimes has issues when you start up and you go into a paddock. It won't remember the job or the coverage, and normally you can get it. You just got to go to another paddock and then come back into this paddock, and it will then, you know, go, do you want to do new work or resume coverage? And you go resume coverage. Well, this time it doesn't matter which paddock I go into. All the paddocks I've already done with all the coverage that's already in there. It's normally what you do, you go into something you've already done so you know you've got coverage. But no, it's just nothing. So yeah, it's a bit annoying having to do it manually. I'm assuming it's just because with the mechanic here this morning and all that, we kept on turning it on and off a few times. And yeah, I assume that it's just sort of glitching out the screen a bit, but it'll be fine from now on because yeah, I'll be going into another paddock after this brew. I think. I don't think this brew will quite finish this paddock. Just brewed up and heading back out. I get about 122 hectares of brew, and the next paddock I go into is just under 100 hectares. But I think I've got about 20 to 25 hectares left in the paddock I'm in, so it could be quite annoying that I'm going to have to go back and brew up to do like 1 or 2 hectares in the next paddock at the end of that. But we'll see anyway. The other thing, I know someone commented on it saying this is why the boss shouldn't drive the equipment. That boom just there is being a pain for me. So when you fold this thing up, you've got to do an equals thing so it all goes up level and comes up nicely. Then you put it up, lift it down, put it in the cradle, you drive along, you should be sweet. Anyway, that side's sweet and this side keeps lifting up. Now I got Henry when he was here last week to fold it up and then go for a drive and come back and then see if it does it to him, because it did it once to him. And it's been doing it to me on like nearly every time I fold, and yeah, well, it didn't do it to him, did it? But it's doing it to me. So Henry, your boom spray wants you back, I think. Something that's a bit unusual that we haven't seen much this year is water in the trams. Probably should have slowed down for that. Anyway, it's one of the positives of washing the boom at the end of the night, because the mud doesn't get a chance to set and just be a nightmare when you come to wash it later on in the year. But yeah, so this is the issue I'm having when it comes to the coverage at the end of the creek here, because I'm going along, I'm just sort of having to skip big chunks, but yeah, it's alright. I'm nearly finished. I was way off, by the way. What I thought was 15 to 20 hectares, this is going to end up being about 41 or 2. So it's not really going to matter for the next paddock anyway, but I thought I was a lot further ahead in this paddock than I was, and I clearly wasn't. Right, about to go on to the next paddock just there, and as I was transporting around, I must have got a bit of a stick or something. I didn't think I was anywhere near the bush when I was transporting, but I must have been. And that's happened. Sorry, Henry. From what it looks like, I'm assuming this has been hit and it's cracked up there. So 2 things. I gotta go turn off the button, or press the button that does the stops all the liquid from coming down to the filters, because it's a live system. This is always recircling back to the tank, and that's with the pump off, and obviously we're below the mass of water, or Flexion, so it all drains out, gravity feeds, so that should stop that. Now my next thing is, do we have a replacement nozzle body? I'm not sure. Right, we should be able to make something up. We've got nozzle bodies, so I'm hoping they haven't been taken off because they're broken somewhere. They look fine, so let's go have some fun and take that thing off. Alright, I turned the agri-fac off because even though I turned it so that the height sensor shouldn't be working, it was going to fight against. I walked past the sensor and it was lifting up, so it's going to be fighting against me, and I don't want that. So these are normally not too bad to deal with. If your pliers are going to work. Oh, come on. Just slowly coming out. Again, not what I was hoping for. Well, the top can stay there. The bottom will replace, obviously, but I cannot see. I can't see in there anywhere that's broken or pierced. There's a little bit of there's a little bit of stuff in there, maybe, that might be the reason it's leaking. Anyway, I'll get this solenoid off, and then, so that's what our solenoid looks like on the inside. So this is the, I'll get into frame. This is what turns the nozzles on and off, on off, on off, on off. Does our pulsing, and yeah, sometimes these can get gummed up, especially if you use something like copper. That tends to really block them up for us. So far hasn't been too bad when you use liquid copper. When we use powder copper, Henry was having an absolute nightmare. But anyway, right, I'm going to put that there, go and grab our new nozzle body. Yeah, maybe the stick came in and pushed it sideways and it's cracked it up the top there. Actually, hang on, I can see it now. Look at that. I was looking in the wrong spot. Okay, so right in there, let me use this as a pointer. Just there, there's a crack. Look, I can peel it off. So that's what goes up into the pipe along here to obviously distribute the chemical. And that's what's broken. So I'm hoping, I'm not really sure why these ones are off. I can tell they've been used. There's residue in them. So I'm hoping that these are all right to use, but about to find out, aren't I? Oh, come on. Two things are really annoying. One, the fluid that keeps coming out, the flexi that keeps coming out. And two, the boom doesn't stay still. Oh, come on. Why are you not going in? You should be going in. Let me show you. That is what sits on the top. So it looks like that. And then that is what sits on the bottom, and they just connect together like that, and you got a piece of essentially wire, bit of rod, goes through both of them, holds them on. Yeah, I've just got to get that perfectly lined up in center so that I can then go across, but proving a bit more difficult for some reason. I'll get there. I'll get there. I am going to pack all this away, fold up, head back to the Brook. At least back there I can use the fire unit with a bit of water and clean everything up. Maybe try and make this a bit easier to go in, and if not, then I might need to shoot to town and grab some new nozzle bodies. Man. Simple mistake can screw your whole day up, can't it? It's a problem with living 120 kilometres from town. It's not just a bloody 5-minute drive, it's a 3-hour round trip of organising and getting, and yeah. Anyway, I'm pissed off and annoyed. I don't think this is going to focus showing you guys because it's a GoPro, but those two holes there are more of a oval than a circle like it should be. You know what? I'll put a photo up. Ready? Photo. You can see in that photo how they're not exactly circle. They're more of a oblong shape. That's my issue. They aren't going in because, well, it's not designed to go in like that, is it? So let's see how we go with having some my tools, giving these a bit of a reshape, maybe like that. Let's see how we go getting it in. Let me show you what I've done. So it's not pretty, but I'm hoping I can get it to that this doesn't leak and I can just get going. I couldn't get the back to come up. So what I've done, these clips, they're meant to go on both sides, but that just is not an option. I am pretty sure I need some new nozzle bodies, and maybe need to try and bend the tag. I'll show you on this side. So that tag there is a little bit bent, but I'm pretty sure I bent it back into place, so it should be all right. But anyway, they are both now on like that. So what I'm going to do now is just start her up and then just do a flush with this nozzle on and just check to make sure that it's working. if it's working, U-boot, I'll zip tie these pins up so that they can't come out, not that they will. And then hopefully I can get through all the flex sand program. And then once flex sand's all finished, Henry and I can pull this up to the shed when it's clean, it's just water, and actually just work on it properly and get that sorted. But for now, I've done a farmer fix, and I'm hoping I fixed it. So, and it hasn't, I haven't damaged anything up here while doing it and have it all bloody leak out again. We'll know in a couple of seconds, won't we? Nothing more frustrating than having something that's meant to be a simple job take so long. Basically I did that at 3 o'clock and it's now 5. So 2 hours to change one nozzle body is absolutely shocking. What I should have done was cut my losses when I was down in the paddock there and come up to my my ute a bit earlier, because yeah, just having those extra tools and everything like that was just so much easier for me to actually get it all done and get the it working. I've got about 80 hectares left on board, and yeah, then I can brew up from the truck in the morning and then go and fill the truck up and then bring the truck back down. So I've got basically a full day of spraying for tomorrow, and then I think that'd nearly finish me here. I'm not sure, I'll have to work it out, but yeah, just want to get this 5,100 litres out now, so I'm not having to stuff around doing it tomorrow, and then, you know, stuffing my day up tomorrow. We are currently 25.8 hectares in, and out there is working fine. So my dodgy fix is working nicely. So still got another 3,500 litres to go, and then I'll finally be empty. And then I got to wash the boom down, and that'll be the end of the day. Right, that's me finished for the night. Just folding up the boom now, and gonna head back. Need to wash it all down, especially need to wash the tractor side of it, because had that nozzle body obviously off when I was driving, and that liquid was, or the flex sand I should say, was, you know, coming out and going all over the side of the machine. So definitely need to make sure I wash that. So yeah, I'm going to leave the video there. If you've enjoyed it, give us a like, subscribe if you haven't, share it with somebody else, and go check out the Glass Cage podcast, and I'll see you in the next one.